if you've taken my other Skillshare classes, you know how much I love color. And that's the same with my After Effects projects. I color code the heck out of my layers. So in our project here, you could see how each layer has a different color, and I color them by type. Some people like to color them by scene. I think that's really confusing because if everything is already chunked out on the timeline, why do you also need to color them? Makes no sense to me. So I do it by type. So all of my special effect, or is that my sound effects? I have sound effects up here. I think I meant VFX. All of my special effects are pink usually. As you can see, all of my text layers are green. And there's a reason for that. Green, obviously, is my favorite color. It means go. It means I finished something. Green is a very happy color. Color of money, right? Well, I changed my default so all of my text layers now come in as green because originally the default is red in After Effects, and that makes absolutely no sense to me. For me, if you see a red layer in my project, it's because it's a test mask or it's an old layer that has animation on it that something's being parented to but is turned off. The reason why, if you click on the color and you do select label group, it will automatically select all of the red. So if I want to make sure at the end of my project that all of my layers are turned off because they're only text masks or other layers that absolutely need to be off, I'll be able to do that. Sometimes I make my nulls red as well. Not all the time. Sometimes if it's a control null that has a lot of animation on it, then I'll make that yellow because I know it's something I might have to change later. So I highly recommend that. Pre-comps, I usually leave the sandy color or sometimes lavender because I usually, if I'm searching for the layers or the pre-comp, it's easy to see because of this little like film strip guy here. Shape layers usually are default to blue, and then if it's a mask, I change it to red. And any kind of background, I make dark green. Backgrounds and shadows are dark green for me because they're way in the back. They're the dark. They're, I'm not usually touching them a lot. I may have like a fade on them, maybe slight animation, but not a whole lot. It's usually stuff that I will shy guy, which I will talk about later. And then I keep all my sound effects up top. Sometimes I'll bring them down to match the scenes. It depends, especially if scenes are being moved around, then I will absolutely do that before I move scenes around so I know that everything is selected. But usually I keep the music and the sound effects up top because I usually shy guy and I keep them together, but not always. Any kind of bugs you put above here as well. So I hope that makes sense, especially with the color coding. And I'm going to show you next how I set up my character color coding. So what do these colors mean? I set up the same color coding system for every single character because it's going to be easier having sort of a muscle memory, knowing what color means what to you. So every single character animation timeline that you see of mine, the head is always pink, the body is always fuchsia, the sometimes the hips or another that's important part would be purple, and that's the main thing. Body and head, and then usually if there's a shadow or feet, it's going to be dark green because that's going to be your base that mostly everything's going to parent down to. This guy's a little different because of how his legs move. Normally I have the thigh or the calf parented to the thigh. In this case, because of his movement, I have it backwards. Actually, let's go to character 2. I believe she is set up. Yeah, she's got a little bit different where her leg is like hanging there, where her calf is parented to. That if there's a limb that's not going to be moving, I'll parent that. I'll make sure everything is parented to that. Like the hips, the rest of the body moves to that, but it's not connected to the leg, if that makes sense. So same thing here. Body is fuchsia, head is pink. And then I do label everything. Please label your layers. I can't say that enough. Technically, if you have a color coding system, you may not need it, but please do. If you're working with a team and you have a lot of hands in the same project, you want to make sure it's as easy to navigate as possible. Labels and a color coding system that they're familiar with is going to be very helpful. You can even do a shape layer with the different colors that say what everything is. I've seen that happen, and then you can just turn that off, just so everybody who's working on it can find that easy navigation. So yeah, that's color coding for me. Hopefully that helps. Please do your own system. It's going to help you navigate a lot faster, other than just reading the labels. In 2022, After Effects added colored keyframes, which is really, really great, especially if you're adding a lot of different keyframes within the same layer. I really don't do a whole lot of keyframes on the same layer. I usually have null controls for a lot of stuff. So it's really cool actually that they have this feature, especially if you love color coding as much as I do. I have yet to really utilize this new tool, so I'm not going to talk a whole lot about it, but I highly recommend checking it out. And please put in the comments below how you best use those color keyframes. Please share with the class. We'd love to know what you love about it, what you don't love about it, so we can best use those going forward. Thanks.